Hello, everyone. Welcome to Projeto AlFa. Today we have a very special guest that we're very excited about, Gros.
Hello. Hi.
And Gros, of course, is an amazing right back, right now playing in Gyor. She's coming from Slovenia, and she's been in most of the biggest clubs in the European handball. She's started playing in the seniors in Krim, and then she went to Gyor for a couple of years as a young girl with 18, 19. And then she went to Germany, where things were a little harder, and then back to France for a very happy moment. You had a lot of happy years in France, and then an adventure in Russia, in Moscow, back to Krim, and now playing in Gyor again. So we're going to talk about this path and how your life has been in handball. But my first question for you is, how was Anna as a little girl? Who was Anna?
Okay. Anna was a very clumsy girl. I was really clumsy actually, and my father and my mother always said like everywhere I went, I was just falling on the floor all the time. So I also have some scars on my forehead here, not so visible, thank God, but because I was always falling on my head. So it's actually funny that at the end I turned out to be a professional athlete, let's say, and yeah. But in general, I was very joyful child. I really like to go on trainings with my father because he was a professional volleyball player. So I was from the small. When I was small, I was already a lot in the hall. So yeah, sport was in my genes, if I can say it like that. So yeah, in general, I think I was a pretty okay child. I was not too trouble, too much trouble.
Nice.
So, how is the youth developing in handball in Slovenia? Like, how do you pass through the youth team to the further level, to the first team, to the first division, and everything like that?
Actually, we don't have like very how to say like very certain plan or like steps that the youth players should follow. Like it's in other the countries, like for example France, or it's just like more how you see the players, like if they are talented or not. Doesn't matter the age or whatever, if because with me it was I already with 14, 15, I played already first division with the first team of Krim, which was very, very early. And now I see that most of the players until, let's say, 18, 19, 20 in the other countries, they don't play let's say, first divisions, or they always play with the second team or something like this. So we don't have a path that is really like determined. So it's mostly just like how they see it. If they see you're talented, you will join the first team more early or not, or yeah. So really depends, but mostly it's like you start with these younger teams and then you join when they think you're ready. It's more or less like this.
And it's funny because for me, Slovenia has a very specific handball style. You can see it in men and women. It's kind of the Slovenian handball. So I thought that Slovenia would have a big handball school. So how does it work? Do you also have then like you said, there's no internats, there's no handball schools. How does it work to go to national team? Are you You know what I mean?
We have of course, Krim has still their academy. I think it's actually like, let's say, academy, like the only club who has a lot of these young players, and they are really divided by age, of course. And then some of the more talented are already maybe with the older ones sometimes. Like my little sister now, she's 12 years old, but she already, for example, plays for the older ones with the 14 also. So it's really like it depends. But we have, of course, this handball school, like I visited. It was a high school where you have just handball players in a class, and then you also have handball trainings in the morning in your school before the classes start. And then afternoon, of course, you go to your club. You have a training with your club wherever that is. That's in Ljubljana. But this is just if you want to join. You know, there are mostly like 20 to 25 players per year joining this high school. You know, if you want to or not, or so it's not that big. But that is actually the only handball class we have in Slovenia. All others are just maybe any other high school, and then they're doing training normal with their clubs every afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Is handball a big sport in Slovenia?
I would say men handball mostly. I think now in November, it was earlier this last year when we had this European Championship at home. I think we raised the popularity of women's handball also a bit. So we were hoping to do that. Now also the, let's say, little girls will join more, and we will have much more people seeing women's handball as well, not just men's handball. But of course, first is football. I think like in every country, and basketball as well, because we were pretty successful in basketball as well. So handball, yeah, and then there is ski also. We are really successful in skiing, and this how is it say fly skiing, when they fly air. I don't know how is it called in English. So there are many other sports that are much more successful than handball, let's say. But okay, men's handball, they also won 2 medals. The last medal was in France in the World Championship. So of course, with all that, it's more popular. So yeah, but I would still say handball is not so popular in Slovenia that is it maybe in other countries.
Yeah, but it's nice to see that it's such a country that really values sport, because you have really strong sports in different sports. So that's really cool to see. So how was it to be this little girl and go from Krim, where you said you were already playing in the first division and a high level already since 14, but then when you go to Gyor with 19 years old, right? When you go to Gyor, you're still a young girl, even if you were playing for the high level in Slovenia. How was that step, and how did it happen?
It was actually with 18 I played my first Champions League season with Krim, and of course for me it was like, wow, something amazing already. And I think I did already pretty good job my first year. So of course against Gyor we played, I remember 2 games. I think it was in the main round or whatever, doesn't matter. And I remember I played good both games, you know, and I think with that I caught an eye of the people here. So after when they called me, or they called my father, because at that time I didn't have an agent yet, they said they want me, and they would like me to join, and I was just like so amazed. And then you're just like, yeah, I can't say no to that, you know. So I really couldn't say no. And that was it. Actually, I was so afraid, of course, because even though it's not so far from my home, it's let's say 3.5 hours with car from my hometown. So I knew I will be close to, I will be able to come home in the weekend sometimes or whatever. But still, it's first step in abroad. So yeah, when 19 years old, it was hard, and I was very, very afraid actually. But but then when I came, of course, everything was just like amazing for me. And afterwards, of course, after 2 years spending here, I saw it was too early for sure. It was I was not on that level yet. I could already in the trainings for me was hard to train with all these stars, and to score a goal in the training for me was like I had Eduardo Amorim in front of me, and then Katrine Lunde behind in the goal. So it was like, where should I shoot? How should I pass all these walls in front of me?
The highest level possible.
It really was. So of course it's good, because I think it made me also a player that I'm today, that I was training every day with these players. It was like amazing, and really brought me like to the best level it could. But in general, I think it was a bit early, and if I could stay a few more years at home, I think it would be good for me as well. But it was how it was. I never regretted it, though. I was always happy for this experience, and with all the players that I played. So yeah, it was all part of the path, I think. So yeah.
Nice.
And then you moved to Germany to play in Thuringer. And you already admitted that it was very, very hard for you. Was what the hardest experience that you lived there in Germany?
Yeah, because when I was here in Gyor, and I still I didn't sit on the bench all the time in Gyor. I still played like Hungarian league and everything, but like I wanted more. Of course, I wanted to play Champions League because I already played it in Krim and I know I'm capable of. And then, of course, like when I spoke with the coach there in Thuringer, like let's say he was selling me dreams, like, yeah, you have to come here, you will play. This is important for you that you play all the time and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And okay, of course, I believed it. Okay, this is like, because in that time I had like Valcea was so strong at that time. I had an offer from Valcea, or I had an offer, I don't know, from some other top clubs of Europe, and still, but I said no. It was Zvezda also in Russia, I think at that time, I remember, so strong. But I said no, I don't want to go there. I want to go to some club which is like, let's say, still playing Champions League, but like in a normal level where I can develop and play. And of course, okay, I chose I chose Thuringer. It was not for money or anything, and then I went there, and like it was totally different than the coach said. Like first year, like I was always on the bench. Like okay, he gave me opportunity, let's say in these easy games, but I made a mistake, I went out immediately. Like after one missed shot or two missed shots, out. So this is the word that is killing the player. Like the confidence and everything. So it was really hard for me, and after 1 year I already wanted to leave, even though I had a contract for 2 years. And then he said, no, stay, this year it will be different, the second year will be different, blah blah blah. And I say, okay, maybe it was first year I was struggling, it's okay. And then actually, like, I remember I coming a bit later on the preparation, because we had some national team before, and I'm coming I remember to the parking lot, seeing him, and then he was like, I have something to tell you. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, Alexandrina Barbosa is joining, like, and I say, okay, good, like, she's left back, okay, good for us, we'll have a good team. Yeah, but no, in the left back we already had someone. It was not Gornaya at that time. She was a really good player in the left back. So where Alexandrina needs to play, but she will play on the right back. So then she played on the right back. Oh, of course, she was an amazing player, and nothing against her at all, but there was one more player in front of me, so yeah, that was even harder for me. And then I played even less at that time. And then on the half season, I said, thank God Metz called me, and it was enough, and he let me go, even though he was not really agree with it, but at the beginning. But yeah, after he let me go, so I could leave, and it was the best decision of my life.
Mariana is smiling because she's feeling related to your story.
I'm smiling because I didn't tell you, but I was in Thuringer also. And I had such a similar experience to what you're saying. Actually, almost the same, because it was the same talk like you. We will play, we'll play, amazing. We need you. You're so important. You'll be so important next season. I stayed the first year. I wanted to leave. Same talk again, but next season.
Oh my
God. Same. And half year, I finally could get out, because the same like you, like, it was really hard to get out even in the middle of the year, but then I could get out, and that was good. But I wanted to say that when I was in Thuringer, I knew that you were there before, and I knew your story. I knew what you were saying. How was your experience in Thuringer? And every time I was having a bad moment, I'm like, Anna Gros is one of the best players in Europe, and she was here, and she also stayed on the bench. Like, I even heard that you were playing on the right wing.
Not so much. Maybe it was in some games, but not.
Yeah, but someone told me, yeah, he put Anna Gros on the wing, and she wasn't even playing, and he was putting right hand people on the right back, and she wasn't playing. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, it's no problem. If Anna Gros comes here and she doesn't play, who am I? Like, okay, I get it. I can do it also.
I think we are, and also we are not the only ones. I heard many stories after.
No.
Like, I have nothing against him. Like, all that, we are past it. He's a coach. I still respect him, but yeah, like at that time. And also it was hard because I had so many conversations with him and was like, what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want to do it better, or that I will play.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to say. For him, excuse was, yeah, you're not tough enough in the warm-up games.
Yeah.
You're not tough enough in the warm-up games, but it's, sorry, fucking warm-up games is to get warm, not to like kill each other. But he believed in that kind of philosophy, whatever, that in warm-up games you need to be tough, you need to kill each other. And for him, like, but even though if I would be tough, I would still not play, that's for sure. So that for sure, that was not the reason.
Yeah. I'm so happy. Like, it's so important to feel validated by someone else. Like, I wasn't crazy, like my feelings were the same, exactly what you were describing. So it's crazy.
Yeah, really.
Nice. Thank you so much for that. It's nice to hear it from you.
Yeah, also nice to hear from you, even though I know there were a lot of other stories with other players as well.
And this is so cool because she told me the same story that you're telling. So it's so funny.
Yeah, that's why we were smiling the whole time you were saying, also that. Oh, also that. Yeah, but I've heard also with Trinia Pintea, she was also there and she also didn't play. So it's a lot of people. So yeah, it's a special club with a special dynamic. So yeah.
Special coach.
Special coach. But then you were getting an invitation, an offer from Metz. Yeah. And like I've heard you say before, this kind of saved your life in handball. This was a little getting back to your confidence. But I wanted to ask, how bad was it in Thuringer? Did you ever think about quitting? Did you ever have one of those really, really bad moments that you were just like, I'm done with this. If I can't change the club, I prefer to stop playing.
Yeah, actually, it was many times. I mean, there was a period when I really I wasn't sure if I still want to continue. I mean, like at some point, okay, of course there is like, what if I stop? But then at some point I was like, no, I love handball too much. But I was just thinking about going home, like I didn't want to be abroad anymore. I wanted to be near to my family, like this was like the hardest for me at that time, because you're going through all this and you have nobody, like, let's say, to who you can trust. Or, okay, of course I had friends in the team, but it's not the same as that family. And that was like the hardest, and also because I didn't know what I'm doing wrong, like, and that struggling with this and everything. So I really wanted to quit. Like, I was really at the point of like, I don't know if I want to continue. I want to go home, but then I was like, okay, come on, I have to, like somehow you always find a way, of course, like I cannot quit this now. I was still young, so I said like, okay, like there will for sure be better times for me. And of course my family was a big support as well. But it was really hard. And honestly, it was really hard, even though it was, let's say, just for 1.5 years. But it's still like it felt like this was the longest 1.5 years in my life. Like every game you are like hoping you're like for at least some minutes, and then you come in and you do a mistake, and then you feel the worst in your life, and it's just repeating all the time the same again. It's like in a circle, how it's a never-ending story. So yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard.
And then you go to Metz. How do you go, like, you are not playing and then go to one of the best clubs in France?
Yeah, it was just like in that time I was just like, no, I just want to leave from here no matter where I go. Actually I always kind of wanted to play in France, before I was always thinking, yeah, maybe like one day in France, why not, and everything. And then I went there for a 2-3 day, couple of days, for like a probation time. And I really loved it in the moment, like I was just like, oh, I hope they'll be satisfied with me. I remember this training, I was like, I was dead at the end of the training because I just wanted to run and show everything that I can, it was so funny. But yeah, like almost immediately they said they're satisfied with me. And so yeah, I was really happy. And of course, joining them, they are like, because I think it was already before one time they called me or something. There was like option going there. I think it was before joining Thuringer. But I wasn't so like, I don't know, to go there. And actually now it was like, yeah, okay, now it's apparently Metz is meant to be. So yeah, and then I joined, and it was just like, it was immediately I felt so good, you know. It was, I don't know, it was just the right feeling, you know.
I think that's amazing when you find what you need in that moment and you have a team that supports you and a club that supports you. But that's really hard to find. Did you have, like, you were working with an agent right at that time already?
Yes.
To help
Yes.
you with go-to-mats? Because that's a struggle that a lot of people have when they are in a club that they don't play so much. How can they get new offers for a good club when you don't have time? But I think in your case, it was helping a lot that you already were in Gyor before, and that you were already the talent, and so that's...
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I already had in my resume, let's say that I played in Gyor, and of course that counts as well, you know. And that time going from Thuringer to Metz, of course, my agent helped me really a lot, and that's I will really be grateful to him forever, because he really helped, and he really like pushed also the coach in Thuringer to like let me go, and like negotiating with him and everything so that they let me go. So yeah, it was really like he was really helping me a lot, you know. I don't know how it would be if I wouldn't have him, or you know, like it's much more, it's harder, it's for sure, it's harder, you know, to be on your own or whatever. But yeah, I think agent, it's a very, very important person and someone you can trust, and that's throughout your career. So I think it's important to have a person like that.
Let me just ask, because I think you also come from a small club, a small country, and like us, we are from Portugal. We feel that there are a lot of agents that are not at the highest level, and also there are very little agents that are from Portugal, so it's very hard for us to find someone that we can trust. Do you also got that feeling when you came from Slovenia that of course you need an agent that can help you and that you can trust to follow and help you in your path, but how do you find the right person? How does that work? How does that work in Slovenia?
Actually, for in my case, it was I was actually a bit lucky, let's say like this. When I came to Gyor, is my agent with whom I still am in this moment. So I have him now already since I was in Gyor, so more than 10 years, 12 years. So I'm lucky with that. So he's still the same person, and he approached me when I was in Gyor, and actually he was starting that time also the business of this sport management, you know. So I was one of his, let's say, first players, or he already had, of course, but like he was just starting. So at that time he approached me and he said, I would love to work with you, and I'm searching for young talents who have a bright future and blah blah blah. So at that time already, like, of course, I spoke a lot with my parents, and they have a big say in all of this, and they say, yeah, okay, let's try it, how it will be, and we will see after, you know. And actually he never let me down throughout all these years, you know. And of course there were other agencies that approached me many times during my career, and they say like, okay, we will give you this, and we will, like, you know, like they're always trying to take you on their side, and which is normal, of course, it's all part of the business. Of course there were also moments when honestly I was thinking like, yeah, maybe I should change, like, you know, because of course there are also, let's say, how to say, like with my agent we had some moments where it was like maybe not so good, or like I was wishing he would put more effort or whatever, you know. But of course I told him that, you know, and then he tried to make it better, so that was good, you know. And then of course at some point I was thinking maybe I should change, and then I was always coming back to this, like, okay, this moment with going to Metz, and like how much I trust him and how much I know him, and like, okay, of course there were things that were not so good, but I was like, okay, he never really let me down, so like maybe it's better I stick with the same person, you know. It was just my feeling, my gut, you know, who told me that. So yeah, so it was just about this mostly throughout all these years, you know. But of course for younger players, or for yourself, for example, for sure there are many people now maybe coming and asking, and then you also don't know who to trust, who not to trust, who really wants the best for you, who just wants the money. So I totally understand that this is very, very hard, but yeah, I don't know, this is just, I think it's most about how you feel about the person.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is something really hard for us, because in the start they always say, ah, yes, I'm really excited, yeah, and then you have nothing, nothing good, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
when you believe more in yourself than the
And
person
they do.
that's representing you. I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure there is. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So then when you are in Metz, you are building your confidence, and you had some really, really nice years in Metz. You were very happy and the team was doing very well. And then you change for the rival. You go to Brest. So how was that transition? Like, what was going through your mind, and what was missing in Metz that made you want to change?
Yeah, the transition, or let's say this step that I did was not so easy actually, because it, like you said, it was a rival, and people in Metz were not happy, and they were speaking very bad things about me, which I was expecting in some way, of course, you know, like there are these 100% fans that are always like, come on, how can she do this, it's just for the money and all this kind of stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, of course, it's not like easy when you hear all this, but on the other hand, it's like, it's my career, I decide for myself, nobody can like say to me what I should do or not do, or it's my decision in my life. And you know, like if I want to go there for money or for whatever in this world, I will go, you know, like it doesn't matter, you know, it's my decision. And yeah, so it was of course hard, because in Metz I felt really good, and the team was really good, and we were really progressing. But like, I don't know, I just, in this moment I felt like I need the change, you know. I'm a person who likes to try new things, and who I always, I felt like in my career I have to experience as much as I can, you know, like of course not exaggerating and changing every year, but like after 4 years and a half I felt like, okay, I need something new, some new challenge, you know. So yeah, and of course I will not lie, a financial offer was very good, so of course that was also a big part of it, I will not lie, and I'm really honest about it, because I think now in these years, and like in when you're like you see that your career is going upwards, like you have to, let's say, get enough money as much as you can, because afterwards, after the career, it's all back to the normal life. And this is also like, let's say, a good side of the sport, that in sport we know that you can earn a lot of money. So if you can do that, why not, you know? So, but it was not just about that, of course. It was also, like I said, about this feeling that I need something new. So it was actually all together.
So this is in France, were full of joy. And were you also happy personally?
You mean in France in general?
No, I mean you, yourself. Were you happy at that time?
Yes, I was very happy. I felt really good. I was actually really, even though I wasn't like, I have to stay in France, you know, when I was joining from Metz to Brest. But it was just like a bonus for me, you know, like I really loved France, and I said, okay, now we'll see another side of France, you know, we'll go into the other side of it, and meet people there and see how it is there. So yeah, in general, like in France, I felt really good. It really felt like my second home, you know, and I was so proud also to learn the language, you know, and everything. So it was just so much easier, the life there, when you learn the language and you really feel like you belong. So yeah, it was, I felt really fulfilled and really happy there. Yeah.
I think here in France, it's very easy people to like you. If you are a good player, it's easy because everyone is like amazed by you, and of course you are a very good player. And every time you came into the interviews, everyone was so Anna, and we saw that everyone loves you here.
Yeah, I can say that that's why, of course, this was part of it also, because I felt that people liked me, and like, of course, it's such a nice feeling when you come to the game or after game, you speak with the fans and everyone's like, oh yeah, you're such a good player, you're they giving you compliments, and yeah, like of course this is all makes part of it, and then it's just like you feel so good, you know. And that's why I stayed so long also, you know, in France, and because people were really nice, and I had just positive all the experience that I had, and it was just positive. So yeah, of course it's part of that as well.
And like you were saying, you are a person that likes to take risks and new challenges. So then next step is Russia. And that was a big change also. Then we went to Moscow. It was a club that was just getting up because it was a new project. And you just stayed half a year because there were some surprises in this year, right? Can you walk us through this year and how everything worked out?
Yeah, like it's just exactly the same thing. I felt I needed a change after 7 years in France. I when Itzeska approached me, like because I'm also a person who gives a lot on like how I feel beside handball, you know, like in what city I am maybe, or like, you know, like I'm not just so focused on handball all the time. So like the thought of living in Moscow, it was like, for me, it was just like, wow, I need to try this, you know, like it was of course handball was important part, and CSKA was actually in Final Four the year before, so it was like, okay, they have great ambitions, like they have already a good team. So yeah, it was also of course this, but it was also like, I want to go and try living in Moscow, you know, like this is such a big thing. So it was also part of it. And yeah, then I just joined, and in the beginning, yeah, it was actually really good. I really was like so happy because I was living in Moscow. I was going everywhere every day, like trying to visit as much as I could, and just going to restaurants, eating and everything. Like I love this. And but on the handball way, of course, it was very complicated. It's a very different culture and a very different mentality than I was used to before in France. And of course, the language barrier was also a bit. It was hard, you know, because Russian girls, of course, they mostly could understand, but speaking was very hard. And okay, we had a Romanian coach, so he was speaking English all the time. So sometimes, like, I felt that not everyone is understanding everything. So in the game, sometimes it was like a bit messy, you know, like, you know, so it was, yeah, it was really, really challenging. And yeah, and this handball part was, yeah, was very, very different. So, of course, I would love that it lasts longer, you know, like that to try stay there a bit more, even though it was hard. But yeah, I still like enjoyed Moscow a lot, and I'm still very grateful for this experience that I had there, even though it was short.
Yes, and after this 7 month, 8 month, you come back home. And how does it feel to come back home after 12 years living abroad?
It was amazing. Even if it was just for like 3 months, okay, then it was summer, so I don't count it. But I had a lot of clubs approaching me, of course, to come to join them till the end of the season. And but I was just like, no, I don't really want to move again just for 3 months, going somewhere to some other country again, you know, like it was, yeah, I don't know, it was just like, but yeah, now I can stay at home, you know, like I can be here, I can be with my family, I can see my friends every day. And it was just such an amazing feeling, because until I found out where I will go or where I will finish the season, I already was at home like for 2-3 weeks or something like that. I was like, no, but now I'm here, so it's good, you know, like why I should go somewhere. So yeah, it was just like an amazing feeling, really. It was of course, like, okay, with the Slovenian championship, it's really not so strong, so we didn't have so strong games. A part of what we were with Champions League, you know, we reached the quarterfinals. But on the other hand, I said to myself, like, it's good, it doesn't matter, you know, like now I can live my life also a bit, you know, beside him, so, and enjoy all this what I have around me, my home and everything. So yeah, it was just like, it was really just about, like, mostly not about handball, it was mostly about other things in that period. Yeah,
enjoying life again, having a little feeling of normal life
exactly,
that you can have when you're not a professional handball player, right? Because it's
yeah,
really
exactly
a different type of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you decide already in the end of the season that you'll move to Gyor, and a comeback after 10 years. How was that? And now that you feel you come back to the team with a completely different feeling, right? Now you feel like you're ready, that you can really help the team and you can be an important player. How was this comeback now?
It was exactly like you said. It was just like I came back because I had some unfinished business here. My second year in Gyor, we reached the finals, but we couldn't win it, and yeah, that's some bitter feeling. So I said, like, now I have to come back to finish this and to win this Champions League, you know. So yeah, it felt weird in some way, because of course when I came here, like, some things are of course never changed, like it's the same, but of course then my role and myself and of course the team and everything like changed a lot. And but yeah, it feels nice to be back, of course. And it's always when you play here with the other teams, it's always like, wow, you know, like the atmosphere in the hall, the fans, it's just crazy. And then when you're part of it and they're like for you, then it's just such a different feeling, you know. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. And of course we had struggles this year, you know. We are like really a bit ups and downs and everything, but for now we are still where we want to be. Nothing is lost yet. We have still all the cards in our hands, so for now everything is okay.
So you are this kind of player that shows up every time that the team needs. Do you feel the pressure?
I would say no. Of course I do. I think here, let's say this pressure is a bit different, I would say, than in other clubs. I know that here we are 16 or even more. We are now more, even 18, 19, like really great players. And of course, everyone needs their role in this team, and from everyone is expected also. Like, I wouldn't say that the club is putting pressure, but I think you put your pressure on yourself a little bit because you are here, you know. So
just the shirt already has the pressure, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so of course, like I said, you know, nobody's like saying to you like, yeah, or after a bad game or someone was coming, or when we lost like against Mets or whatever, that like they were coming and saying things. No, not at all. It's just like we as a team and each one of us as an individual, we put the pressure on ourselves because everyone, of course, everyone is expecting, you know, like Gyor needs to win. And like everyone now, when I'm speaking to them, we lost the game, it's like, oh yeah, you lost the game, and what? Yeah, we lost the game, and like, you know, it doesn't matter. Okay, the Gyor days, let's say, when they were winning every and each game of every season, like during I don't know how long, it's over, you know. Like handball now, it changed so much, and it's like other teams are on such a bigger level, so it's like it's not the end of the world, like if we lose the game or whatever, you know. So of course it's not easy when you have, like, let's say, still this pressure of an old days of Gyor, let's say, somehow. But I think everyone has to deal with it in their own way, you know, like as a team, of course, together as well, but each individual as individuals as well. So it's on our own shoulders, this. And yeah, it's like everyone says, pressure is a privilege, so we have to take it as that.
So do you have any techniques, any things that you do to deal with the pressure, like preparing for the game or in a moment in the game where you feel things are not right or you have this doubting moment? Do you have some things that you do to help you turn and get ready and deal with the pressure better?
During the game, not really. I don't have like some special things, but before the game, I have a lot of things. It's okay. First of all, I'm superstitious, so I do a lot of things like that, you know. But I think everyone says this is not so good, but I think it's just that what makes you prepare for the game, that you are really focused, what makes you focus, you know. So I think I take it as that, you know, like all the things that I do before the game and how it needs to be that day of the game. It's just to really, like, I'm in this focus for the game, you know. And of course, like before the game, exactly like in the locker room and these kind of things, I try to really put up my confidence, you know. Like sometimes I write to myself a letter like before, or maybe a day before, or maybe even that day, or sometimes I read letters from when I read them like a few years ago, you know. I have in my notes, and like things like that make me feel confident. Or sometimes I even look an old game of myself, like when I played good, you know. So in this kind of way, I try to give myself the boost and the confidence, and like to be strong and prepared for the game.
That's so cool.
So what are your superstitions?
Oh,
we know about the
pink
Yes.
hairband.
And I thought it was because you were in Brest. But
yeah.
no.
I don't know, like this came just like naturally, like I don't know why. I just started one day with this pink thing and I just stick with it. I don't know why. I always have to eat banana in the locker room before the game, like not like everyone, if I don't have a banana, like
It's the end of the world.
end of the world, stressing out, everyone loves like give me a banana. So yeah, this, and then of course there are some exercises that I always do before we start the warm-up, like some exercises for my shoulder, like always in the same order. And then what else do I always have to eat the same before the game, like pesto pasta with chicken, where the home games, of course, when we are away we eat what we get. What else? And then
your
always,
nap?
no, not
No?
really, like it depends how I feel. This is really depends of the day how I feel. Then okay, in the warm-up, when we start the warm-up, I also always have like the same order of the exercise or how I do the warm-up, you know, like also with the warm-up in the pairs, when we do in pairs, like then I always have the same like order. It's always about this order that I have, so mostly it's all these things. Yeah,
I think it's so funny because I'm not such a superstitious person, so I don't understand 100% of it. So how does it work when you have a bad game? Do you ever doubt? Do you start changing a little the routine, or do you just stick to it?
no, I stick to it. I am like that I stick to it, even if it was a bad game. Then like sometimes when or for example, I always need to have this around my arm, you know, the
sweatband,
the sweat band. Yes, the sweatband. And I remember like when I was younger, I was still a junior with the national team. We were like 17 or something, and I forgot it for the game, you know. And I was stressing out so much, like I was, oh my god, no, I will play bad, you know, like. And then like everyone in the locker room, like girls were like, I thought that somebody hid it from me, you know, like I was then accusing of my friend, like you hide the bad from me, you know how it is, you know, like. And then I really played such a bad game, you know, I missed everything, you know, like. And then I was like, you see, it's because I didn't have the.
I told you.
Yes, you know, like it was so funny, but then of course I'm like, this is crazy, you know, like I cannot do that, you know. And then coming to Gyor, like that now, the 10 years ago, I remember also I had always the same top, you know, for the games. And then at some point we were playing a tournament, and of course I couldn't have a top 2 times because we played 2 games in a day. And then Katrina Lunda said to me, like, in that time, but Anna, come on, this is all in your head. You know, like, you know, even I was stressing out, and she was like, but this is all in your head. Like, you need to let it go. And I remember that time I didn't use the same top anymore, you know. So I changed. I still like, I know this is not affecting anything. So I like the things that I like to stick to is that I stay with that. But if it's like not, I cannot do it or whatever, then I'm not stressing out as I did, for example, when I was younger. So
okay, that's good.
For the banana though, I'm stressing out. This is
the banana.
Yes, the banana is essential.
Exactly.
So you talked about the national team. What are your biggest goals with the national team?
Yeah, of course, like now we were 8th in this European Championship, and this was the best success in the history of Slovenian women's national team. So we were really proud of that, even though like it felt a little bit bittersweet because we knew we could do maybe a step more because we were not so far from, let's say, winning Norway, and I think that would be an amazing thing for us. But it is how it is, and of course now our main goal, let's say, is first, of course, we have to qualify for the World Championship. We have a qualification next week, the week after, against Italy, 2 games, and then after that in the World Championship we will really like to try the Olympics. Why not? You know, I think we still have chances for it. Of course, it will be very hard, but we are dreaming of it, and if we could reach this Olympics in Paris, this would be amazing thing for us because it's just like unimaginable, really. So I have this in my mind. It would be really a big dream for me. I think it's not impossible, but yeah, this would be like our main goal now in the next 2 years.
So that's your biggest goal with national team, and of course with the club is Champions League. How is that feeling when you were in Metz and you were to the final and you lost? How is it to lose
With Brest,
final
with Brest,
with Brest. Sorry, yeah, with Brest. How is that feeling to be in a final, Champions League final, and lose this game?
I cannot even explain to you, like, because we played the semi-finals against Gyor and we won after the penalties, and it was like amazing feeling. It was something like I think it was like the best game of my career. So it was, but then we were so exhausted physically and mentally after that game that, like, in the finals, we just weren't there. Like, we were there, of course, but like we tried, and I think it just didn't work because we were so exhausted. We really gave it all on Saturday, and then Sunday we just couldn't. And of course, Vipers, they had, let's say, an easy game the day before, and they had the time even to rest the important players during the game. So, like, and it's so many things that decides in Final Four. It's crazy, like, how much like this luck, sports luck, and also, I don't know, the day of the goalkeepers. This is like so important in Final Four because it's just all in 2 days, and it has nothing to do with your performances during the year, nothing to do at all. So it was really hard. It was the worst loss of my career for sure. I was so sad after, because it felt like, even though we lost with, I don't know, 5 goals, but it still felt like we were so close, and it was really hard, really.
And then it was amazing because in that year you were champions in France, and did you play against Metz and you lost? No, you lost the first match.
Game with 6.
Yes.
In the playoffs, and then we won at home.
7 or 8.
6 or 7. Yeah, it was. Or we lost with 7. We won with 7, but then we scored more goals in Metz than they did in Brest.
Yes.
Yeah, but this one, and in all this season was like, I think it was the best season, my best season, because we won everything. We won the French Championship, the Cup, and we were in finals. So that was like the best season we could have. So in general, this was like amazing season, and I'm still very grateful for what we have had, and winning this title after losing 6 and then winning it, or 7.
Yes, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It really was amazing thing, and I was so proud of us, and it was just amazing. It was really great. Yeah.
So at the end of this season, what stays more in your head? What has a heavier weight? The winning the championship or the losing in the final for so much for the final?
Such a good question, actually, because I don't want to to make injustice to any of it or to our team or what we achieved, but like I already won the French championship before, so then it's like, of course with Metz, and it's totally different, and I know how much we also struggled with the Corona time year before, when we were like going really like this, and then Corona stopped everything, and I was so sure that we would come to the Final Four and maybe even win the Champions League already that year. So of course that was like a big thing for us to win this championship and the Cup and going to Final Four that year. But because my wish for so many years now is winning the Champions League, like, it was just like, it was a big disappointment, and mostly I was just thinking about that at the end of the season. Maybe it's not right, and of course, like I said, I was very proud winning everything else, but it was still like, it was still really hard for me to accept that we lost.
But that's also what makes you a good player, is that loss is what drives you to go more. Like, if you were just happy, oh, we lost, but we won everything else, then you wouldn't be where you are. Then you would be just relaxed. Okay, I won this, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So how is this day when you lose this game? How do you sleep? Like, for us, we talk about this a lot. Like, for us, sleeping after a bad game, it's one of the hardest things ever. How is your recovery after a hard game? What do you do?
It's exactly what you have problems with also. I cannot sleep, especially if the game is a bit later, and then it's still this adrenaline in you, and then you're just going through over and over, and you're again the game and the scenarios and everything. So it's really hard for me to sleep, and if it's a bad game, if we lose, if I play bad, it's like the worst thing ever, even though now I somehow learned how to deal with it easier. Of course, I'm older, I have more experience. When I was younger, it was like it was a disaster, like, but now I try to like take positive things out of it. Sometimes I watch it again to just see like it, and then okay, it was maybe this and this was not so bad, like you're trying really to find the good things in it. And of course it's still hard, but then the next day I say to myself, like, I cannot change anything now, I just go to training the next day and do it better, so this is the only thing I can do. And I think now I really like, I can see myself doing it it's much easier than it was like years ago to deal with it. Yeah.
So how do you sleep in a European champion competition like that? Because you have very difficult games. You do very good games, very bad games in a very short period of time. So how do you switch off your head to have a rest and sleep?
Yeah, it's
a glass of wine. No.
Sometimes when the coach allows, I prefer beer though.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's good for regeneration.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's hard, because okay, now at least after every day game you have a day of rest, so that is much easier than it was like the system before when you had sometimes 2 games in a row. But okay, like in Final Four you also have 2 days in a row, and I think this is the biggest problem of, I don't understand it, honestly. I think this is the problem of the organization, that such a big and high level competition is played in 2-day game, and you should play the best games of your season in the 2 days. It's just impossible, like they did it in the European Championships and the World Championships. They give you a day of rest, but they don't give you a day of rest after the semifinals.
Maybe they just want the drama.
Yeah, for sure. That is financially easier for them, for sure. Like
no, but it's cool for the spectators, but not for the players.
Exactly. I know
they don't care,
but they don't care about us. So I think this is sad. And I hope at least that I probably not until I finish my career, but after, I don't know, they would change something, because like I said, after in Final Four we was so exhausted after the first game, like I couldn't sleep until, I don't know, 3 in the morning. Like how the fuck. Sorry, I should prepare for the game, for the finals the next day, it's crazy. So yeah, in European Championships, it's, I'd say, a bit easier, because you still have a free day after, even if you don't sleep so good, or you still have throughout all day to like get some rest, and then the next night also to get some rest. So I think it's much better, so it's much easier to do it. Yeah.
So what are the professionals around you that you need to have a good performance? Do you work with nutritionists, psychologists, physical coach specific for you? Do you have what's your team like?
Me personally, of course, in the Gyor, in the team, we have a lot of people working around us, the physical coaches, the physiotherapists, like the conditions are really good. But me personally, I have my own physical coach, actually 2 of them. I don't know if you heard about them. It's Total Movement. They are from Holland, and I'm working with them since 1 year now. So yeah, they are really good. They work with many athletes from other sports as well, and they are like making the program for the gym for me. So every time when I have a gym in the week, they send me the program, and I can do my own program in the gym. And of course, they are always following me with all the, let's say, injuries and problems. They are giving me advices. They, like, when I have some kind of physical problem, they give me like special exercises for it, how to solve it in a minimum time possible. So yeah, they are always like following up with everything. So yeah, I'm very satisfied with them. And then I also work with a mental coach as well. I think it's very important. I already worked with someone when I was in Gyor 10 years ago at that time. And then like many years I didn't use it. Actually in Germany when I didn't have it. And then I started again many years after. In Metz, actually everything was going well. Of course, okay, there was moments when it was hard, and then I actually, again, I think I had few sessions. It was another person that I'm working with now. And then it came this when I was in Brest, and then I had some personal issues as well, and in my personal life I had some problems, and then I said, okay, I need to figure this out, and why should I just like keep it at myself? And I think this is just like, I can have someone who can help me with all these things. So then I reached out to some other guy that I actually found on internet just like randomly. He's from Slovenia, and we really clicked, and he's helping me now like when I need. It's not like we are having sessions every week, or it's just like when I feel I need it and I might want to talk to someone and I need his advice, then I just reach out to him, and then we talk and do all the sessions. So yeah, I think this is really important. Also the mental health and this aspect of the sport is very, very important. Yeah, so
for sure. I was just going to ask about the mental coach. Do you have one thing that you learned in the mental coach that really made the difference for you, that you could tell us, of course?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a lot about like what I said to you, this preparing for the game and this confidence that I do, you know, like it's maybe nothing special, but is like with him we started with all these writings and like writing things down and everything, and like he was always giving me like beginning of the sentences, like why I am so good, and then like, you know, you write things, and why I don't know why I am where I am today, or you know, these kind of things, and we're always writing down these kind of things, and I'm still doing it now like on my own. If I'm not talking with him, like I said, I write these letters to myself before the games, and I'm reading it, and to me it helps a lot. So this was like my thing that helped me a lot to deal with all this like lack of confidence moments and all these things.
Of course.
Yeah,
This is a very good thing to do, a letter to for yourself, because it's true that if we are not good for us, we are not talking like positivity things and everything like that, nobody will do. So it's very cool, and it's very it's cool that you do that for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Yeah, it's very, of course it's good when someone says to you, but sometimes like you just need to repeat it to yourself as well. Like you really need to like see it, read it, you know. It's so much different when you read something than when you're just like in your mind, I'm good, I am confident.
Do it.
You know, like, you know, sometimes
You don't need to think.
really different. I don't know, for myself at least.
Yeah. Nice. So who is your biggest inspiration in life and in sports?
Ooh. That's hard. My biggest inspiration, I would say my big inspiration was always my father, because he was also an athlete, and I see how he deal with like playing volleyball, family, and working as well. So it was always like all this together, and also when he got divorced from they got divorced, my mother and my father, and how he was dealing like having me and my brother and like all these kind of things. So I think he was always like some kind of superhero for me. Of course, my mother as well, she had another job, and she was also like working a lot, and she was being away from home. So in general, I think my parents for sure are my biggest inspiration. But or my, like, I don't want to do injustice to anyone, like in my family, my brother also sometimes, like, he's so inspiring to me. Sometimes he's younger than me, but then sometimes he has such a wise words, then I'm like just like, oh my god, you know. So in general, I would say different parts of my life, of course, it's like maybe some person more than the other, but in general, my family in my life was always a big inspiration, like all of them, you know. So yeah, like without them, you know, it wouldn't be possible anything that I did. So it's like, yeah, everyone, each one of them, they were my biggest inspiration. And then in sports, I would say like many athletes, I was always like admiring a lot, like Usain Bolt, or like in handball it was Bojana Popovic, or maybe Vitka Otičnik was also when I was younger. So it's like different, like I said, also different periods of my life, but now no one like specifically, you know, like different athletes from also different sports in general that I admire as well. So
cool. Yeah. So now I wanted to ask you if there's anything that you regret or anything that you wish you could have changed in your path.
My career?
Yeah, in your career.
Or in your life, if you want. If you want to
Yeah.
hear, we are here to hear you.
No, I don't have any regrets. Really, I don't have, like I said, okay, there were these hard moments in Germany or in Gyor when I also didn't play so much, or like, but I always, like I said, it was all part of the path, and I'm sure that if this wouldn't all happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I don't regret anything of it, and it made me a person that I am today, and also in my life. None of it. I think we shouldn't regret anything, because I really believe that's all is made to make us stronger, and if everything goes smoothly, then yeah, it wouldn't be interesting. So it's like it needs to go up and down in your life, in your career, whatever. So I really believe it's all part of it, and yeah, so I don't regret anything, really.
Nice.
So earlier we heard about some of your funny stories in handball, but we love to more another one. One funny, one bizarre, something like when you pass through, you said, "Oh, if I remember this, I will tell my kids or my
Grandkids.
Oh, this is actually I already
or
told
in a
you
game, I don't know,
stories.
something crazy."
Yeah. Yeah, I already told you some stories. So now just to think of one like this, it's really hard, because for sure there were like many of it during all these years. Yeah, it's so hard to remember.
No pressure, no pressure.
No, if you
To remember
don't find
something
a
like
story.
this. It's always some little story. Yeah, there I can maybe say one. It's funny, of course. We were with Metz playing a game in the French championship. It was in Mios, I think. And then we had a game there. We won everything, and then the next day we should go back with train, with TGV, to Metz. And of course, with the girls, we went out. After the game, like the next to the hotel just near, there was like 2-3 nightclubs. So of course we went there. We had fun, really fun, and we stayed like until, I don't know, they closed down the nightclub. So it was really funny, and we got drunk. So maybe this is not for the public, but okay, everyone knows that we drink sometimes. So yeah, and then actually, like we were so late that we almost missed the train. Like we came back to the hotel. I think it was like 6:30 or something, and then 7 the train was leaving. So then at some moment I was like, okay, I will just close my eyes for 10 minutes. Yeah, it was not a good idea. And I was like, oh, and then my roommate, it was that time, was Grazadi. She came like, Anna, we need to go, we will miss the train, like, and of course, okay, thank God, okay, we came in time. It was really, I think, in the last moment. And then in the train, like, everyone was just feeling so bad, and we was like, oh, please, let's go home, like, let's go home at least, So yeah, it was just a funny, nothing special as a story, but it was a very funny moment. So yeah.
But it's good, because I think a lot of people have this idea about sports athletes need to be like this, but it's so important to have the life outside of handball. Like you said before, also, it's so important to find this balance. So of course it's going to happen some moments that you just let it go with your team. So
Exactly.
It's really nice to see.
I think these are the nicest moments where you really connect as a team, honestly. Like, even though like people now we think, oh my God, yeah, we are getting drunk. No, like, of course we are not. Like, you're not getting drunk just like this, like it was after.
And it's so rare.
And
right?
And sometimes you need to let it go, of course, and I think like really now I have experienced that. Then when you go out as a team, like, and like with your teammates, is really the moments that you connect the most, like because you always have some funny stories, and then you always like the next day you're always speaking about it, and we are laughing, and like in the locker room it's funny, and like it's really part of it. So yeah, of course, like when you have the time for it, like when you have some easy games, let's say, and then some days are free after. We had 3 days after free, so that's why we could do it, so yeah, then it's so funny.
Do you like to work with video to prepare for games? Are you big
Yeah,
fan
like
of
of
it?
course, I think it's very necessary, but at some point, like it's too much also can be. Like some
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
they just like they're exaggerating in it, you know, like because I still feel that of course, like the important things need to be like write down, you need to see it, you need to prepare for it. But at some point, like in the game, when the moment is coming, like in a second, you will never remember, like, oh, in the video, you know, like, okay, you will know the actions that are playing, you need to be prepared for this and this. But like in some special moments, it's like you just do how you feel in this moment, you know.
It
So
needs to
at
be
some point,
natural.
like if you have too much information, it's like I don't think it's like it's too much, you know. So.
Did you ever feel like a little bit of discrimination from being from Slovenia? Did you ever feel like, oh, she's just a small girl from a small country, what does she know?
No, I wouldn't say I experienced that, you know, like but mostly you feel it as a team, you know, like with the Slovenian national team, you know, you feel it like um in also with the referees or like okay, sometimes
Status.
yes, exactly, you know, like you really can see, because we still know this is the problem of our beautiful sport, the referee side of the of our sport, which is terrible. And you can really feel that they are like making this like difference, you know, like especially now, like for example against Norway in the championship, European championship, like it was like at the end they just really fucked us up, you know, like it was really like, come on, you know, okay, of course, like maybe they would still win it, you know, but they did some stupid decisions, and you could really see that it was like, yeah, okay, because it's Norway, you know. And then you just feel so sad, you know, because you can't do anything. And of course there were other games as well, when you just like, we are small Slovenia, of course we cannot expect that they will give us something, you know. So it's just because mostly in this direction I felt it many times. But to me personally, I wouldn't say that like like someone would say this or something. No, never.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask one more question. From all the big clubs that you were in, all the amazing clubs in Europe you played, and also in Russia, what was the most professional club you were in?
Gyor for sure. Gyor
Right.
is the most professional in all aspects. I think, like I said, the conditions here are like everything what we need. You just need to think about handball. That's it. Even though in Brest, I would also say like, okay, they were still, let's say, a bit new club when I came, but like now, and also when like throughout the years that I was there, like they were developing so much, and they also, you could really see they give a lot like on the things that we needed, and the conditions and everything. So yeah, I would say yeah, Brest and Gyor for sure. Yeah.
And Moscow, not so professional? It's still starting, right? The structure was not there.
Yeah, no, it was not like, okay, of course, like every club has good things and bad things, like also, you know, and every club is like this. But yeah, I would like, you could really see that they are still a young club, and there are some things that of course are not on the level yet, and but which is normally like it's of course when the new club is developing, like you then with the years you see what's missing and you're trying to make it better, so which is normal. So yeah, but in all the clubs I felt good. I cannot say that anywhere like it was like missing something so much, or like it was like, it's always like you have bad things, good things, but mostly like people are really nice and trying to give you the best conditions that they can at that
Weren't
moment.
you surprised about the lack of professionalism in Germany, in Thuringer?
Yeah,
getting back.
yeah,
Because for me, I always had this idea of German handball and German professionality and everything.
Yeah, but
And
this is for men, not for women.
I was so surprised.
Yeah, it was like also coming from Gyor to there, you know, it was like, oh my God, you know, like I was really surprised. It was a shock. Yeah, it was.
For sure. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, after all of this that we've been talking today with you and learning about your life in handball, why do you still play handball with all the ups and downs? Why do you keep going?
It's just because I love it so much, you know. It's of course, and still now, like there are coming moments when like why I'm still playing, you know, like why I'm still ask myself actually that question like a lot, not a lot, but like sometimes, you know, and but it's just like then when I come into the hall and I take the ball and I shoot and like I am in the locker room with the teammates and you know like it's just all these feelings that I know at some point they will be gone and then it's like I need to enjoy until it lasts, you know, because I know that soon it will be over. Like I have in front of me maybe like let's say 3 maximum 4 years more and I just say like okay now I need to enjoy it until I can, you know, because for sure I will miss it a lot when it's gone. So yeah, it's just like of course it's like always asking like why should I continue, and now when I'm older and getting more like pain in my body and like it's hard to deal with it sometimes, it's still like yeah I need to like keep it going until I can because yeah, it's just like these feelings I think later in life it's hard to get them back, you know, like all these feelings that sport and handball gives you on the court, off the court, whatever. So yeah, it's all because of this. That's why I'm still doing it, and I hope until I can, I mean like for the next at least 3-4 years, let's say.
And of
Really
course, winning a
happy.
Champions League.
Of course.
We're only cheering for you.
Of course. Yeah,
Finish
that's
big.
the main goal.
Thank you so much. This was
Thank
such a
you.
nice conversation. We really love to get to know you and learn a little bit about your process and how you go through your ups and downs. And it's been really nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure for me also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much and see you next time. Ciao.
See you.
Bye.